This session will focus on create user functionality in the user manager module. User creation is one of the most important administrative operation in any enterprise application because it enables administrator to manage system users efficiently and securely. In this session, we will understand how front-end and back-end system works together to create and store new user records in the database. By end of this session, you will be able to understand the design and implementation of create user functionality in the user manager module, develop RESTful APIs for create new users using Spring Boot and past API integration concepts, validate user input data before storing it in the backend database, implement backend logic for creating and saving new user records securely, integrate frontend, create user forms with backend APIs, display success and error response dynamically in the frontend application, test create user APIs using Swagger UI and frontend integration workflows. This session is important because secure user creation are essential in scalable distributed applications. Let's start implementation. First, go to the project workspace and open the latest version of frontend in VS Code. Then go to the terminal and convert into command prompt mode and start its execution by using the command npm run dev. Then press O and enter. It opens in the browser. Next, return back to the project workspace and enter into the backend folder. Open gateway project which is implemented using Python Fast API in VS Code. And convert the terminal into command prompt mode and activate virtual environment. Then execute the file run.py by using the command python space run.py. Now the application is started. Then open the project core services in Spring Tools and start its execution. So right click on the project name and use the option run as Spring Boot app. Once the project is started, go to the browser where frontend is running. Log in using the admin credential. Then go to the module user manager. Try to click on the button add new. It displays a pop-up window where the user can enter the detail to add a new user into the database. In this pop-up window, there is a drop-down to select a role. As of now, the drop-down is empty. So we need to update a logic to list out the roles in the drop-down menu. So go to the project core services and go to the package mth.service, open user service.java and go to the method which is created to bring all users data by implementing a pagination. While retrieving users data, we need to fetch the data from the roles table to display the list on the dropdown. So for that, we need to create a repository for the table roles.java, which is available in the package models. So go to the package repository. As of now, the package repository has only one repository that belongs to users.java file. Now we are going to create a new repository for roles.java. So right click on the package repository and choose the option new interface. Name the interface as roles repository. Then convert the interface into a repository by adding the annotation @repository. Then apply inheritance with the JPA repository by using the keyword extends JPA repository. Use control space and select it. In the place of T, we need to provide the entity class name. This repository is created to perform database operation related to the table roles. So the name of the entity class is roles. Use control space and select it from the package mth.models. And ID can be replaced with the data type of its primary key. So just go through the file roles.java. It has two data member. One is role and another one is role name. Role will act as a primary key because it is annotated with the annotation @ID. The data type of role is long. So we can replace the ID with the data type of the primary key in the class. So replace ID with the data type long. Then save and go to user service.java. Modify the method get all users. So after fetching the users data using pagination, create a list for the entity class roles and create object as roles equal to, by using the object of roles repository, we can use the method fetch all to bring data from the roles table. For that, we need to create object for roles repository. So go to top of the class. Next to JWT service, we can create object for the roles repository by using the annotation @autowired, and name of the repository is roles repository. I just name the object as r. Then go to the method get all users. Initialize the object roles by using the object of roles repository and call the method find all. It will bring all the data from the roles table and assign to the object roles. Then we can return the value of the object roles along with the response. So add response dot put and set key as roles and value from the object roles. Then save. Once the application is restarted, go to the front end, close the pop-up, just refresh the module user manager, then click on user manager, then click on add new. Now the drop down role have a data. Next we need to focus on collecting the data from the front end and save those data into the database. The next to get all users, create a method to perform insert operation into the database. Create a method with the public access specifier and return type as object and name the method as save user with the two parameters, one to receive the users data. So create object for the entity class users. I just name the object as u, and another one to receive the token. So string token. Inside create a response object by using map and initialize by using the class as map. Then create a try catch block to handle the exception. Finally, we can return the response object. First, we will complete the catch block. Set response object with error code 500. So response.put code as 500 and set error message. So response.put message from e.get message. Then start implementation inside a try block. First, validate the token by using the object of JWT service and call the method validate token and pass the received token as an input. This method validates the token for authorization. Next, we need to perform insert operation into the database table users. Before performing insert operation, we must validate the received email ID is already present in the users table. If email ID is already present in the database table, we must throw the error message email ID already registered. Else we can allow to perform insert operation into the database table. So go to the file users repository.java and write a JPA query to check whether the email ID is present in the table or not. By using the annotation @query, then write a query to check email ID. So select u.id from the entity class users and create object for the class user and apply the condition by using the where class where u.email equal to the parameter email. Then create a method public with return type object. I just name the method as check email with a parameter which is used in the query, that is email, and declared as a string. This JPA query will return the primary key, that is ID, if email ID is present in the table. Otherwise it returns null. Then return back to user service.java. Create object to receive the primary key if email ID is present by using the object of user repository and call the method check email and pass the received email ID. The received email ID is available in the object u. So u dot get email. So this statement will check the received email ID is present in the table or not. If email ID is present, it returns the primary key, otherwise it returns null. So we need to check the condition. If object of ID is not equal to null, that means email ID is present in the table. We need to throw the exception, throw new exception with the message email ID already registered. Else we can perform the insert operation. So use the object of user repository and call the predefined method save and pass the user data. User data is available in the parameter object u. So this will perform create or insert operation into the database table. Then we need to return the response with success code 200. So response dot put and set code as 200 and response dot put set the message as new user has been created. Then save and go to the package mth.controller, open the file userscontroller.java and create a new endpoint by using @post mapping because we are performing write operation into the database table, and set the endpoint name as save user and create a method with the two parameters. One is object of the entity class users and string token T capital letter. Then add annotation to the first parameter. The data for the object can be taken from the request body. So add the annotation @request body and token can be taken from the request header. So add the annotation @request header. Inside add a return statement using the object of user service class and call the method save user and pass those two parameters as a input. Then start the application, right click on the project name, run as Spring Boot. Once the application is started, or if it is already running, once the application is restarted, you can go to the browser, take a new tab and open Swagger page for the Spring Boot application, which is running on the port number 8001. And click on the newly added endpoint, that is save user. Then click on try it out. For testing, we need a token. So go to the tab where front end is running. Use Control Shift C, go to the inspect element and go to the tab application. Under local storage, click on the link and copy the token. Return back to Swagger page and paste it for testing. Then we can pass the data to perform insert operation into the database. So ID is auto generated, no need to pass value to the ID. So we can send a full name and mobile number, then email ID. Intentionally, I will give the email ID which is already exist in my database table. Then password and default role as 1 and default status as 1. Then click on execute. It returns a response, email ID already registered. Now we can test by providing a new email ID which is not available in the database. Then click on execute. Now it returns the success message, new user has been created. Then open pgadmin and cross check with the database. Then execute select query for the table users. It will fetch all the record from the table. There we can see the data which we sent from the Swagger page. Then open gateway project and go to the file schemas.py which is available inside models package and create a new schema to validate the user's input. So class, I just name the schema as users schema. Then list out all the fields for validation. We can copy the data members from the sign up schema and paste it. In addition to that, we can add role and declared as a int and status declared as a int. Then save and go to the file authentication controller.py. We can import the newly added schema. So comma, name of the schema is user schema. Then go to the end, create a new endpoint to connect with Spring Boot. So let me copy the previous endpoint and paste it. Change the method type as post because in Spring Boot we use the annotation @post mapping, and change the endpoint name as save user and change the method name or function name as save user. Remove the parameters page and size and create an object to receive data from the front end. I just name the object as data. The values must match with the user schema and receive token from the header. Then while connecting with Spring Boot, we must change the method as post and update the endpoint as save user. So next to the endpoint, we must pass the data in the form of JSON. So JSON equal to data dot model dump, comma pass token as a header. So then save. Once the application is restarted, go to the browser, take a new tab and open a Swagger page for past API which is running on the port number 8000. Then click on the new endpoint, save user, click on try it out. So we need a token. We can use the same token which we used for testing in the Swagger page of Spring Boot application. Just copy paste, then send data in the form of JSON. So full name and phone number, email ID. If you give the existing email ID, and password, the default role 1 and default status active. So intentionally I given a email ID which is already exist in my database table. So this is the email ID already exist. If we click on execute button, it will return the message email ID already registered. That means the past API is successfully connected with the Spring Boot application. Then go to the tab where the front end is running, refresh, go to the module user manager, try to perform insight operation by using a front end. So click on add new and fill the data to create a new user account. So the drop down is disabled with the default value user. So while creating a new account, the user will be added by default with user role. Then enter mail ID, and password. Then click on save button. We will get a response. New user account has been created. Then click on OK. The pop-up will close automatically and page is refreshed. So we can see the new data which we entered in the pop-up. We can verify the same with the pgadmin. So go to pgadmin and execute the select query once. Now the new data which we submitted from the front end is available in the database table users. So we understood the create user functionality in the user manager module, learned how front end and backend system communicates during user creation. In the next session, we will continue implementing the additional CRUD operations in the user manager module of the project.